Proof.
Hi, Liz.
Thanks so much for joining me today from lovely Lincolnshire. I joined you at your stable last week to actually kind of see what was going on because I've been so interested in following your journey and following your passion, and you were such an ideal candidate for Living Proof that I just had to get you to take part, so thank you. As you know, Nicole, Living Proof is about looking at examples and different experiences of people that are actually living their passion and doing what they want to do, whether that's they've been doing it for a long time or they've just taken to it. And thank you so much for sharing some of your experience today. What we want to do is kind of get under the skin of what it takes and what it involves so that we can kind of tool ourselves up to really live our best lives too. So, Nicole, let us into your life a little bit. How would you describe a day in the life for Nicole Mills Eventing?
Okay, so an average day in the life of Nicole Mills Eventing starts at about 6:30 in the morning when get up, feed the dog. Yeah. Then I head down to the yard, and the horses, the yard starts at 7:30. So I get there, and the girl that works for me, my working people, she gets at 7:30. And it's just the normal morning routine: feeding, haying, mucking out, changing water, and they get a massage rug on too. Not that they're too spoiled.
Darling, spa treatments, hey?
And then we sit down. It's compulsory. We have a coffee as soon as we finish the yard, about 9 o'clock. So that means that the yard's immaculate. It's swept. Everything's ready to go. And it's a sit down, 20 minutes, work out which horse is doing what that day, and which clients we've got coming in, which ones need clipping, which ones need trimming, and so on. So from there, we've got a plan for the day, and a schedule that we need to keep to. I would say probably 3 times a week we head out in the horse box with up to 3 horses on it, either dressage, show jumping, or cross-country training. So that's great. It's really it keeps you motivated. It gives you something to look forward to, and it keeps you up with your training as well. Because with most things in life, you can never get too much information.
Quite right.
Never stop. So we've got 8 horses on the yard that are being worked, and we work our way through them. We've already worked out before that day, what their exercise routine will be for, the following week, depending on what level they're competing at, and, when their next competition is. And then after all the horses are exercised, the normal yard jobs like tack cleaning, tidying up, washing rugs, washing numbers, washing boots. There's a lot of washing that goes on. Then, a general yard tidy up. The horses that have been out in the field get brought in at about sort of 4 o'clock, and the yard gets finished up by 5 o'clock. And then they get their evening feeds. And then after that, I will head back down to the yard anytime between 7:30 and 8 and skip them out that night. So it's a pretty full-on day. I mean, if we're out competing, it means that we can get back anytime sort of up to 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night, especially during the season. That also means an earlier start as well. So it's been known that you start at 3 a.m. You've got to get the horses done first.
I don't think I've got up that early, and since I was like going on holiday and like booked a really ridiculous flight time. So hats off to you, Nicole and team.
What is always very hilarious is when you're driving to the yard at 3 a.m. in the morning on a Saturday morning or a Sunday morning, and you see everybody else going home from the club, and you're like, one of us has got this completely wrong.
Yeah, quite right.
It is.
At least there's a bacon sandwich at the end of it, right? As you're driving along.
Exactly. That's normally the bribery, because I get my friends and family to come along. I'm like, look, I will buy you a burger. Please come.
They must be easily tempted, but it sounds like it's full on, especially as you mentioned with the season coming up and such. You kind of you're on now, aren't you? And getting ready to really show up and look to get through the different events and competitions as well, and kind of prove your worth. I mean, we've talked about a bit of your journey getting here that people can read about in the blog piece to go with this, Nicole, and things are going great for you right now, and it's been kind of a bit of a rocky road getting here. However, you've got such a unique approach to your horses and what you want from, your business, Nicole Mills Eventing. I know that you're not one to just rest on your laurels, and I'd be really interested to know, all the successes you've had are fantastic, but what keeps you awake at night, Nicole?
That's very easily answered.
Yeah.
Not achieving my goals and my ambitions.
Yeah.
I've had the same ambition since I was 17 years old, and it's kind of one of those things that you think, I've been doing this for so long now. If I was going to give up, what on earth else would I do?
Yeah.
And also, you know, I set that goal a long time ago, and it's my dream, it's my ambition, and I'm going to stick at it until I get there. Really.
Got you. And when you talk about your kind of dream and ambition, if you could kind of sum that up for us, where is it that you see yourself? And I know this, but for everyone at home.
Riding at Burley Horse Trials, and because obviously that's it's our local event, and it's it's a 4-star event, so it's something that I've wanted to do for a very long time, and not only riding at Burley, it's becoming a fully fledged 4-star event rider. That's the dream.
That's it.
That's it.
That is the pinnacle, as I'm sure the French say. So, there's a lot of hard work that goes into doing what you do, and you are focused on that end goal, which is going to be an enormous achievement when you get there. I mean, ultimately, how does it feel to be kind of following your passion and doing what you love as a profession?
It's something that you never. Well, I don't take for granted. I'm incredibly lucky. I have a lot of support, and you're never going to work. If that makes sense. It's not a job. It's something that, it's a lifestyle. It's something that I've chosen. And, I love it. And I feel very privileged that I love my job. A lot of people that work in offices, I can't imagine that they say that. And, I have worked in an office. I worked full time in an office for, well, I say full time. It was nearly full time.
It's all right.
3 years, and it just didn't suit me. It wasn't my thing.
Yeah, got you. And when you think about, when you kind of look around, and maybe you know people that aren't necessarily doing what really excites them or even interests them, but yet they know what they'd like to do. Just from your point of view and your opinion, really, I mean, what do you think is the biggest myth that holds people back from actually taking that step to try even to live their passion, even if going straight to it isn't maybe a bit too far for them at the start?
I think it's we get quite on a treadmill, as a country. I think that it's very easy to get stuck in sort of earning your money, and you get a wage packet at the end of each month, and it's security. And obviously that's because people have bills to pay, they have houses, mortgages, cars that they've got on lease hire or whatever. And it's quite scary making that step off that. I don't get paid on a monthly basis. Sometimes I'll sell a horse, and then that'll be quite a good injection, as you do. That's a good injection of cash into the company, but at the same time, certain parts of the year it's quite quiet, and also other times of the year, your expenses are a lot higher. So it's just being brave enough to not live yourself by that 4-week payroll, if that makes sense, I think. And also I think it's quite scary. You can always have a dream and an ambition, but to actually step off your treadmill and then start on your ambition, it's you've actually kind of got to live up to it if you make that you make that transition, haven't you? It's something that you've got to make work.
When you mentioned, like, for example, it can be scary when you make steps like that, and it can often lead to feelings of doubt and uncertainty, and sometimes it can be difficult to move anywhere past that, and that's often the door. When you experience yourself feelings of doubt or uncertainty, what's the thing you kind of tell yourself to, I guess, help you snap out of it or certainly move past it?
I would say, actually, for me personally, it would be the people that I train with, the people that I have a lot of time for, and who've been there and done it. And I know that actually, if I wasn't good enough, they'd tell me I wasn't good enough. And you have to have enough belief in what you're doing, and it's not necessarily the way I look at it is quite interesting with horses. It's not necessarily the most talented ones that get you around Burley. It's the ones that have got a big enough heart and that they really want to do the job. And it's amazing, you know, they might not be your perfect stamp of a horse, but they're like, they think they are, and nobody's going to tell them any different, and they just pop around there. You know, and there's a couple of horses that are prime examples of this, and you know, one called Lenamore and one called Little Tiger, and they're just incredible. You know, they're absolute machines, and nobody's going to tell them any different that they're not. You know,
are they your horses that you?
No, they're not. No, they're well-known 4-star horses. And they have their own reputations, and they're quite incredible. So, I mean, I do have a couple of little horses, and they honestly believe that they're these great big 17-hand flashy, you know, stunning thoroughbreds, and they're not. You know, they're these little things. But I'm not going to tell them any different. You know, I'm going to tell them they're great, and we'll carry on.
It's funny, isn't it? Because there's a similarity there with some human behaviour, which is, you know, I believe it and I'm going to make it, even though I may not see it physically, but you know, I've got the heart of a lion, I've got a fire in my belly, and actually that's all I need, because I'll deliver you that. It may not be in the package, expect it, but I'll deliver it to you. No, I love that comparison with the horses as well. If they can go over those jumps, and I need to transfer that metaphor somewhere, that's a really great one to highlight. I mean, when it comes to maybe if you could give your best advice to someone that was thinking about making the jump to follow their passion and do something different and ultimately take this step, what might you suggest to them?
Definitely do your research. You know, find out if actually what your dream and your end goal is going to be exactly what you want. And also, you know, you've just got to take baby steps, in my opinion. Don't jump in with both feet. Take your time. You know, just survey everything around you and work out, you know, everybody makes mistakes. That's the only way we learn. But, you know, if you can minimise your mistakes and learn from other people's mistakes, even better. You know, tends to save you money and heartache in the long run.
I guess when it comes to knowledge, more is more, isn't it? It's a bit like diamonds, I think. More is always more.
Never have enough.
Well, like you mentioned about learnings, and I've shared some of them in the blog piece as well, Nicole. What would you say are some of the greatest lessons you've taken out of the last 5 years or so as you've kind of grown this business and really refined your focus on what your professional goals and ambitions are? The biggest lessons?
I guess, you know, sticking to what you believe, and absolutely, you know, I don't mean that in, you know, if somebody's telling you to ride a horse backwards, that's the way to do it. I just don't mean that in believe stupid things. What I mean is, you know, if you've got standards and make sure you stick to them, and it's really important. I absolutely believe that you are completely truthful with people from start to finish. You know, because it instills trust, and that's one thing with people. If you lose somebody's trust, then, you know, it's never going to be the same again. And you know, that's very similar with horses too. Just, I think, you know, my life lessons, when I had my previous yard, I kind of jumped in with both feet. It was quite an expensive learning curve, but it's one that actually I probably would repeat again, because I've learned a lot from it.
Got you.
And, you know, you've got to make things work, haven't you? It's not something that you kind of go into half-heartedly. And having stepped away from full-time horses, and actually kind of realised that I can't live without them. So, you know, I never stopped doing horses, you know, permanently, you know, sort of completely, but I couldn't live without doing what I do, basically.
It's kind of cut you open now. It's like run through you like Brighton Rock, as they say. It was, got you. That's fantastic. And Nicole, I ask this to everyone that takes part in the Living Proof Q&A, and Proof Coaching's tagline is create, achieve, it's time. So if I was to challenge you to kind of say, when it comes to the next year or so, what are the sort of things that you want to create?
Oh, create. What do I want to create? I suppose I'd probably want to increase my business awareness. You know, kind of make Nicole Mills Eventing a household name, if you like. In the horse world, at least. What else? I mean, I've got a lot of ambitions and you know, plans for the horse. So there's a few sort of qualifications and things that I'd like them to get, and you know, a profitable, sound stable business, I guess.
So they sound fantastic, and what an amazing achievement that would be, you know, for a year's time, to that growth just to continue and continue, and your name and awareness to grow as well, which we absolutely trust that is going to happen. Watch this space, everyone. But if everyone has those things that maybe stay on their to-do list a bit longer than we might have intended, if you were to kind of say what's one thing that you need to kind of get on with, or that it's time to do, what might be something on your to-do list that you kind of need to get nailed?
Oh, that's a good one.
Thank you.
Well, I need with two of my horses. I need to crack on. You know, basically, they've got the training. They know what they're doing. I know what I'm doing, and we need to man up and get on with it. Really. So give myself a good talking to about that. And with regards to the business, I need to put myself out there. You know, I need to. It's all right, me hiding my sort of little business under a bushel and making sure that it's all very nice and runs the way it does at the moment. You know, I need ideally, I'd like 2 extra clients, and, you know, I need to put myself out there in people's, you know, mind's eye to be able to drum up that extra business.
Fantastic.
So I've got to make steps with that.
Yeah, but all parts that form a really strong foundation for really strong business growth, but also personal growth as well, because it all kind of acts as a virtuous circle, doesn't it? So really good on you for having that high awareness, Nicole. We'd expect nothing less. But I would like to thank you so much for your time and taking part and sharing a little bit about your world with everyone. I really, really appreciate it. We wish you so much luck. We are rooting for you, and we cannot wait to see what happens for you, Nicole.
Oh, thank you so much, Liz.
Oh no, you're so welcome. Thank you so much. Cheerio.
Bye.